Imagine for a moment the most powerful emperor of the ancient world, Marcus Aurelius, sitting in his study after a long day governing the vast Roman Empire. In his hands is not an imperial decree or a military report, but a scroll bearing a child's autism diagnosis. How do you think this philosopher-emperor, who wrote some of the deepest reflections on acceptance and fate, would react to such news? The answer may surprise you. Marcus Aurelius would not merely accept this diagnosis. He would embrace it with the most revolutionary concept of his philosophy, Amor Fati, love of fate, love for everything life brings, especially what we did not choose, do not control, and that defies our expectations of how things should be. If you're watching this, you likely know the pain of diagnosis. That moment when the world stopped, when the dreams you had for your child shattered like glass on the floor, when a single word, autism, completely redefined your family's future. Perhaps you're still wrestling with that reality, resisting, bargaining with the universe, asking why me or why my child. Marcus Aurelius, the man who faced plagues, wars, betrayals, and the death of his own children, developed a perspective that could transform your journey as the parent of an autistic child. He did not see suffering as something to be avoided at all costs, but as the raw material of wisdom. He did not view difficult circumstances as punishment, but as opportunities for growth that only those specific circumstances could offer. What if I told you that your child's autism is not an obstacle to your family's destiny, but is your family's destiny? What if this neurological condition that challenges you so deeply were not a stone on the path, but the path itself? What if, instead of fighting autism, you could learn to dance with it, to see it through the eyes of an emperor philosopher who turned every adversity into wisdom? This is not a video about positive thinking or pretending the challenges don't exist. This is a deep dive into advanced Stoic wisdom applied to the raw and beautiful reality of raising a neurodivergent child. We'll explore how Amor Fati, this seemingly impossible idea of loving our fate, can become your greatest tool for liberation and growth. Today, you'll discover why Marcus Aurelius would see autism not as a tragedy, but as a teacher, not as a limitation, but as a doorway to kinds of wisdom only families like yours can access. Before we begin this transformational journey, do something for me. Pause for a moment and allow yourself to consider that your current situation, however difficult, may contain seeds of wisdom you haven't yet seen. If this video speaks to your heart, share it with another parent who needs this perspective. Subscribe for more transformative Stoic content and leave a comment about your biggest current struggle as a parent. Let's build a community of warrior parents who choose to grow through challenges. Marcus Aurelius was not merely an emperor. He was a man who faced adversities that would make any modern parent tremble. Imagine ruling the largest empire in history while your children die of illness, while plagues ravage your cities, while bloody wars grind at your borders. And in the midst of it all, he developed a philosophy that could revolutionize how you see your child's autism. His most radical insight was simple yet profound. There is no perfect fate. There is only your fate, and your only real choice is how you will relate to it. He wrote, "Accept things as they happen, for they happen as they must." This was not resignation. It was a declaration of war against the illusion that life should be different than it is. When you received your child's diagnosis, your first reaction was likely, "This shouldn't be happening. My child should be normal. Our family should have an easier road." Marcus would say those shoulds are the chains that bind you to suffering. Fate doesn't consult our plans. It simply is. Here's the Stoic twist that can change everything. Marcus Aurelius didn't merely accept his difficult fate. He gave thanks for it. Why? Because he grasped something deep that modern psychology confirms. We are forged not by our easy moments, but by our trials. The person you are becoming as the parent of an autistic child is someone who could never have existed without this precise journey. Carl Jung, the great analytical psychologist, expanded this with the wounded healer archetype, the one who gains exceptional wisdom through their own wounds. You are not just the parent of an autistic child. You are being transformed into a wiser, more compassionate, more resilient version of yourself. This transformation would not be possible with a perfect fate. Marcus Aurelius lost 8 of his 14 children. He could have turned bitter, raged against the gods, cursed the justice of the universe. Instead, he wrote, "Very little is needed for a happy life." He learned to find richness in simplicity, depth in adversity, and wisdom in pain. Consider the unique wisdom you're developing. Patience you never knew you had. The ability to see beauty where others see only difference. The strength to defend your child against a world that doesn't always understand. That wisdom isn't a consolation prize. It's the real treasure your imperfect fate is forging in you. Buddhism beautifully complements Stoicism with the teaching of the first and second arrow. The first arrow is what happens to us, the diagnosis. The second arrow is our resistance to it, our fight with reality. Marcus teaches us to receive only the first arrow. The second is optional. When you stop fighting the fact that your child is autistic and begin working with that reality, something remarkable happens. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. You develop perspectives that transform not only your family, but everyone who encounters you. You become living proof that imperfect fates can yield lives rich with meaning. Marcus would say, your child's autism is not a detour from the plan. It is the plan, and your mission is not to cure, correct, or change it, but to discover what extraordinary person you can become by fully embracing this path. In the end, it is not circumstances that determine our happiness. It is our relationship to them. The philosopher-emperor would embrace autism because he understood that our greatest challenges are our greatest teachers. And you, are you ready to be a student of this teacher who arrived disguised as a diagnosis? There's a Latin phrase that can sound impossible when you're in the daily struggle of autism. Amor Fati, love of fate, not merely accepting what we cannot change, but loving what we cannot change. Marcus Aurelius took this to its extreme, and today you'll see how this radical philosophy can transform your experience as a parent. First, let's be honest about what Amor Fati is not. It's not pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's not denying the pain, frustration, or exhaustion of your journey. It's not superficial, positive thinking that ignores reality. Marcus lost children, faced betrayals, grappled with devastating illness. He knew suffering intimately. Amor Fati is far deeper and more revolutionary. It is the realization that resisting what has already happened is what truly makes us suffer. When you fight the fact that your child is autistic, when you spend energy wishing things were different, when you lose yourself in fantasies of if only they were typical, you add unnecessary suffering to what is already naturally challenging. Think of it this way: you're swimming against a powerful current. You can exhaust yourself fighting the water, or you can learn to work with the current, using its strength to reach places you never imagined. Your child's autism is that current. Amor Fati is learning to navigate with it. Jung teaches shadow integration, accepting and integrating aspects of our experience we initially reject. An autism diagnosis often becomes the family's shadow, what we didn't plan, didn't expect, didn't want. Yet Jung discovered that it is precisely by integrating the shadow that we become whole and gain real wisdom. How does this work in practice? Start small. Instead of waking up thinking, another hard day with autism's challenges, try another day to discover something new about my extraordinary child. Instead of seeing a sensory crisis as another problem, see it as my child communicating needs in the only way they can right now. Buddhist tradition offers a gorgeous compliment, just as it is. Not better, not worse, not different. Exactly as it is, this moment is perfect for learning what you need to learn. Your child, exactly as they are, is perfect to teach you lessons no typical child could teach. Marcus practiced a morning exercise you can adapt. Before rising, he reminded himself the day would bring challenges, difficult people, unforeseen situations. But instead of readying for battle against them, he prepared to work with them. You can do the same. Today, there will be hard moments with my child, and those moments are exactly the opportunities I need to practice patience, creativity, and unconditional love. Here's the magic of Amor Fati. When you stop spending energy resisting reality, that energy becomes available for far more useful things: creative problem solving, noticing your child's unique beauties, developing patience that even surprises you, becoming a powerful and serene advocate. Amor Fati doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily practice, sometimes a moment-by-moment one. When your child melts down in the supermarket, instead of collapsing under others' stares, you can think, this is my chance to practice Amor Fati. This moment, exactly as it is, has something to teach me about inner strength. Jung reminds us, everything that irritates us about others can lead to an understanding of ourselves. The behaviors in your child that challenge you most are not accidental. They are invitations to develop parts of yourself that would have slept through a normal life. Marcus wrote, "What inner power you possess. You have authority over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Your child's autism is an outside event. Your response to it, that is your domain of total power. And when you choose Amor Fati, to love your fate exactly as it is, you discover an inner strength you never knew you had. Amor Fati is the difference between being a victim of circumstances and becoming a co-creator of your experience. It is the quiet revolution that turns desperate parents into serene warriors. It is what Marcus Aurelius would do, and what you can do as well. Autism as a teacher of the soul. Lessons only it can give. Here is a truth that may sound controversial but needs saying. Your autistic child is one of the greatest spiritual teachers you will meet in this life. Marcus Aurelius, who learned from the finest philosophers of his time, would grasp this immediately. He knew our greatest teachers seldom arrive as sages in robes. They often come disguised as circumstances that force us to grow beyond what we thought possible. Let's start with a question that might unsettle you. Before the diagnosis, what kind of parent were you? Probably someone who believed they had control over their child's development. Clear plans, defined expectations, a linear vision of parenthood. Autism arrived like a spiritual earthquake, demolishing those illusions of control. And what would Marcus say? Good. Now you can begin to live in reality. Lesson 1. Radical presence. Neurotypical children often adapt to our adult rhythms, our hurry, our schedules. But your autistic child has their own tempo and requires your full presence. They don't accept your mind split between them and your adult concerns. When you are with them, you must truly be with them. This is a mindfulness lesson Buddhist monks spend decades to master. Jung spoke of the eternal child archetype, the part of us connected to immediacy, sensation, pure presence. Your autistic child lives there naturally. While you worry about their future, they are wholly absorbed in the texture of a wall, the hum of a fan, the soothing repetition of routine. They are teaching you that peace resides in the present, not in solving every future problem. Lesson 2. Fierce authenticity. Your child cannot pretend to be okay when they aren't. They cannot mask feelings to make you comfortable. They cannot lie about their needs just to fit in. This authenticity, which may embarrass you in public at first, is actually a profound lesson in living without masks. Marcus, who wrote extensively about the futility of living to impress others, would see rare wisdom in this. Lesson 3. Healthy boundaries. When your child is overwhelmed, they can't just push through the way adults often do. They communicate limits immediately, sometimes dramatically. They are teaching you that limits are not weakness, but self-knowledge, that expressing needs is not misbehavior, but honesty. How many adults do you know who have lost touch with their own limits? Buddhism speaks of the beginner's mind, seeing the world with fresh eyes, without preconceptions. Your child literally sees the world with beginner's mind. Their fixation on trains may reveal intricacies and beauty you never noticed. The repetition that irritates irritates you may be a form of meditation, finding comfort and order in a chaotic world. Jung teaches individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are, rather than who we think we should be. Your child is naturally individuated. They cannot be anything other than exactly who they are. That inability to pretend, which looks like a limitation, is actually a form of authenticity most adults have lost. Marcus wrote, "Everything that happens to us is material for virtue." Your child's seemingly difficult behavior is material for you to develop patience you didn't know you possessed. Their specific sensory needs are material for you to develop creativity and adaptability. Their social challenges are material for you to develop compassion and maternal-paternal protectiveness. The deepest lesson autism teaches is about unconditional love. Your child cannot perform love in order to receive love in return. They cannot modify their behavior to become more worthy of affection. They simply are, and they must be loved exactly as they are. This is the purest form of love there is, and you are being trained in it daily. Stoic tradition teaches that our best teachers are those who push us beyond our comfort zone. Your child does this every day. They force you to question narrow definitions of normal. They teach you that there is beauty in different kinds of intelligence. They show you that communication goes far beyond words. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What does not destroy me, strengthens me," he could have been speaking about the journey of parents of autistic children. Every day you not only survive, but find moments of joy and connection with your child. You are being strengthened in ways parents of neurotypical children may never experience. Your autistic child is not here to be fixed. They are here to be your disguised guru, your personal spiritual teacher, your guide to ways of being that our hurried society has forgotten. The question is not when they will become normal. The question is, when will you recognize the extraordinary wisdom they already possess? The hidden wisdom in limitations, a Stoic view of neurodivergence. There is a lie our society has told for centuries, and Marcus Aurelius would dismantle it with a single line: the lie that there is one right way to have a human brain. The philosopher-emperor, who ruled the ancient world with a mind that today might well be considered neurodivergent, intensely introspective, obsessively focused on philosophy, socially ill at ease with superficiality, would understand perfectly that what we call limitations are often different forms of genius. Let's try a Stoic exercise in perspective. Imagine observing humanity from a cosmic vantage point, as Marcus often did in his meditations. You would see that neurodiversity is not a manufacturing error. It is an essential feature of the human species. There have always been the intense observers, the differently wired thinkers, the ones who process the world in unique ways. They have been our inventors, visionary artists, and pattern discoverers where others saw nothing. Carl Jung tells us that what we resist in ourselves or in our children often contains our greatest undeveloped potential. Your child's fixations may be seeds of extraordinary expertise. That obsessive repetition that frustrates you may be the very mechanism by which they develop mastery in areas others only skim. Temple Grandin revolutionized livestock handling because her autistic mind saw patterns neurotypical brains simply could not perceive. Marcus practiced a mental exercise called the view from above, imagining events from a wider frame to find hidden wisdom. Apply that to the traits of autism that challenge you most, that difficulty with eye contact. It may be a purer form of listening, absorbing information without the visual distractions that confuse the rest of us. That sensory sensitivity, it may be an ability to perceive environmental subtleties others completely miss. Stoic philosophy teaches that virtue can be disguised as deficiency. Your child's blunt honesty, their inability to lie in polite social ways, is a rare form of integrity. Their struggle with sudden change reflects a deep capacity to create order and find safety in consistent patterns. Their emotional intensity reveals an ability to feel that our emotionally anesthetized society has lost. Jung spoke of enantiodromia, the tendency of opposites to turn into one another. What looks like limitation often contains its own opposite, exceptional capacity. A mind that processes differently is not a broken mind. It is a specialized instrument, tuned to frequencies other instruments cannot play. Now, view limitations through the Buddhist lens of interdependence. The fact that your child needs support does not make them less valuable. It makes visible something that has always been true. All of us need support. All of us are interdependent. The difference is that their needs are obvious, honest, direct. Ours hide behind social masks and the pretense of independence. Marcus wrote, "All we see is perspective, not the truth." The deficit perspective on autism is only one way of looking. There is also the perspective of diversity, specialization, and alternative forms of genius. Einstein, very likely autistic, said that if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. The deepest Stoic truth is that our greatest strengths often emerge from what we first perceive as our greatest weaknesses. The child who cannot communicate traditionally may develop ways of communicating that are more profound and authentic. The child who cannot tolerate chaotic environments may hold an extraordinary capacity to create and appreciate order and beauty. Jung teaches opus contra naturam, the work against the common habit that leads to extraordinary transformation. Your child is doing this work naturally. They are living against conventional expectations and in the process revealing possibilities that common nature cannot imagine. The Stoic perspective is that the universe produces no trash. Everything has purpose, even when we cannot see it yet. The neurological traits in your child that seem problematic to a standardized society may be exactly the traits humanity needs to solve problems we have not even identified. Marcus reminds us, very little is needed for a happy life. Your autistic child, with their seemingly special needs, may be closer to that truth than any of us. They do not need social approval to be happy. They do not need endless competition. They do not need to pretend to be someone they are not. Your child's limitations are invitations for you to expand your definition of human potential. They are teachers in disguise, showing that there is more than one way to be intelligent, more than one way to be valuable, more than one way to contribute to the world. And you, as a parent, are being trained to recognize forms of genius others cannot yet see. Turning resistance into gratitude, the warrior parent's path. There comes a moment in every parent's journey that changes everything. The moment you stop being a soldier fighting against autism and become a warrior fighting with your child. Marcus Aurelius, who spent years on literal battlefields, would understand this distinction perfectly. Soldiers fight external enemies. Warrior parents fight to protect, to grow, to turn resistance into focused strength. Let's be brutally honest about the resistance you carry. There's that inner voice that still whispers, "This shouldn't have happened to us. If only I had done something different. If the doctors had, if the school understood." This resistance is human, but it fuels 90% of your added suffering. Marcus wrote, "At dawn, tell yourself, today I will meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful, the envious, the unsocial." He wasn't pessimistic. He was preparing not to waste energy resisting what he would inevitably encounter. Apply that wisdom to your path. Today, there will be challenges with my autistic child, sensory overloads, communication hurdles, the stares of those who don't understand. When you stop resisting these realities and start working with them, your energy transforms. Instead of exhausting yourself tilting at windmills, you channel strength into real strategies, creative solutions, authentic connection. Jung teaches the transcendent function, the psyche's ability to find a third way between apparent opposites. Resistance and acceptance need not be enemies. You can fully accept that your child is autistic and still work to help them develop their capacities. You can love your child exactly as they are and still seek therapies that support them. This is not contradiction. It is mature wisdom. The warrior parent's path begins with a subtle but powerful shift in inner language. Instead of, "Why did this happen to us?" ask, "How can this make us stronger?" Instead of, "When will this get better?" ask, "What can I learn today?" Instead of, if only they were typical, ask, what unique gifts do they have that I haven't fully recognized yet? Buddhist tradition speaks of Tonglen, transforming suffering into compassion. Each hard moment with your child can fuel deeper understanding of all children who struggle to be understood. Each exhausted night can grow your empathy for other parents on similar roads. Your specific pain can become your superpower in helping those who walk behind you. Marcus practiced a transformative reframing. He rewrote difficult experiences as voluntary training. I am not being tortured by this situation. I am training through it. Dudi, when your child has a public meltdown, instead of self-torment, think, I am practicing calm under pressure. I am training my capacity to prioritize my child's well-being over strangers' opinions. Jung reminds us, where you stumble, there lies your treasure. Every area where you struggle most, communication, behavior, social integration, is precisely where you are developing abilities other parents will never need. You are becoming expert in forms of love, patience, and creativity that would have slept through a normal life. Gratitude need not be forced or fake. Start small. Gratitude for those unique moments of connection only you and your child share. Gratitude for the way they see the world differently. Gratitude for the extraordinary community of parents you've found. Gratitude for discovering reserves of strength you didn't know you had. The warrior parent understands this journey has a larger purpose. You are not only raising your child, you are being raised by this experience. Each day you choose growth over mere survival. You write a story of transformation that will inspire others. You prove that love is stronger than circumstances, that human spirits can flourish on any terrain. Marcus teaches, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The best response to social judgment is not defensive anger. It is living with such authenticity and joy that others question their own narrow definitions of family success. The best response to limitations is not denial, it is discovering creative ways to thrive within them. Turning resistance into gratitude doesn't happen all at once. It is a daily practice, sometimes moment by moment. When that old resistance rises, why is this so hard? Pause and ask, how is this making me stronger? What is this difficulty teaching me? How can I use this to become wiser, more compassionate, more resilient? You are a warrior parent, forged in furnaces others will never know. Your resistance, transformed into purpose, is a force that can move mountains. And your child, they are both your general and your fellow soldier in this fight for authenticity, acceptance, and a new definition of what it means for a family to truly thrive. The sacred purpose. Behind the struggle, Jung and the wounded healer archetype. There is a truth that may seem impossible at 3 a.m. amid a sensory crisis, but Carl Jung spent a lifetime studying it. Our deepest wounds carry the seeds of our greatest gifts. The wounded healer archetype, the one who develops healing wisdom through their own wounds, is not just a lovely idea. It is a psychological reality that powerfully manifests in the journey of parents of autistic children. Marcus Aurelius, himself a wounded healer who turned years of war and personal loss into timeless Stoic wisdom, would understand exactly what is happening to you. You are not merely enduring hardship, you are being initiated into mysteries only families like yours can access. This is not romanticizing suffering, it is recognizing an ancient pattern in which specific adversity generates specific wisdom. Jung found that each archetype has its sacred wound. An experience of pain that consciously worked through becomes the capacity to heal others with similar wounds. What is your sacred wound as the parent of an autistic child? Perhaps the pain of social isolation when other parents don't grasp your reality. Perhaps the agony of watching your child struggle to communicate. Perhaps the grief for normal dreams you had to lay to rest. Here is the Jungian alchemy. That very wound is becoming your greatest source of wisdom. Your isolation isolation is cultivating a unique ability to create inclusion for others. Your struggle to understand your child is developing deeper, more authentic forms of communication. Your grief for normalcy is opening space to appreciate kinds of beauty others cannot see. Marcus wrote, "When you wake in the morning, say to yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, surly, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I recognize that the wrongdoer is like me." He was describing the wounded healer's view, someone who, having passed through their own pain, develops profound compassion for human imperfection. Buddhist tradition complements this with the bodhisattva ideal, one who chooses to remain in the world of suffering to help others find liberation. You are becoming a parental bodhisattva. Your experience with autism's challenges is not only for your family's sake, it is training to become a lighthouse for other families navigating similar waters. Jung spoke of synchronicity, meaningful events that seem accidental, yet carry deep purpose. It is no accident that you are the parent of this particular child. There is a mysterious correspondence between the capacities you are developing and your child's unique needs. They did not arrive in the wrong family. They came to precisely the family that could grow with them in ways that will bless you both. The sacred purpose behind your challenges reveals itself in layers. First, there is the personal purpose. You are being forged into a more resilient, compassionate, and wise version of yourself. Second, there is the family purpose. You are creating a dynamic of acceptance and authenticity that will become a legacy for generations. Third, there is the social purpose. Your family is helping expand cultural definitions of normalcy and success. Marcus Aurelius teaches that everything that happens is material for virtue. Every sleepless night with your child is building your capacity to be present under pressure. Every challenging school meeting is strengthening your advocacy. Every moment of social misunderstanding is refining your ability to maintain dignity in the face of ignorance. The healer's wound never fully heals. It transforms into a permanent opening through which compassion flows to others. You will always carry the mark of this journey, but that mark will become your credential for helping other parents who face frightening diagnoses, who feel lost in therapy mazes, who battle isolation and misunderstanding. Jung reminds us that meeting ourselves belongs to the most unpleasant things we can avoid, as long as we can project all that is negative onto the environment. Your child's autism has forced you to stop projecting and start integrating parts of yourself that would have slept through easier circumstances. This forced integration is painful, but it is also what is creating in you a rare integrity. Sacred purpose does not eliminate difficulty, it transforms it into meaning. Your challenges don't become easier when you understand their purpose, but they do become more bearable, richer with possibility, more connected to something larger than your individual experience. You are a wounded healer in training. Your specific wound, the experience of parenting an autistic child, is becoming your specific source of wisdom, and that wisdom is not for you to hoard. It is for sharing, for offering as balm to other wounded hearts, walking the same road you now know so well. Marcus Aurelius would say, "This is your noblest destiny, to transform your personal difficulty into universal wisdom of compassion." And Jung would add, "This transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable for those who choose to work consciously with their wounds instead of merely surviving them." Living Amor Fati in practice, fully embracing your autistic child. We've reached the most important moment of this Stoic journey, how to turn all this philosophy into concrete actions in your daily life with your autistic child. Marcus Aurelius was not only a thinker, he was a practitioner. His meditations were written in military tents, between battles, amid plagues. He developed Stoic practices that worked in the rawness of life. Today, you'll learn to live Amor Fati practically, moment by moment, with your extraordinary child. Let's start in the morning. Before you even get out of bed, Practice Marcus's morning exercise adapted for parents. Today, my child may have sensory difficulties, communication crises, behaviors others won't understand. And each of these situations is an opportunity for me to practice Amor Fati. I will not fight reality. I will dance with it. Jung teaches participation mystique, moments when we connect deeply with another being beyond words. With autistic children, these moments happen differently, but they are profound. When your child is absorbed in their special interests, instead of interrupting to do something more productive, enter their world. Observe the intensity of their focus, the purity of their concentration. You are witnessing a natural form of meditation that adults spend years trying to achieve. Practicing Amor Fati during sensory crises is revolutionary. Instead of seeing overload as a problem to be fixed quickly, see it as important communication. Your child is saying, "The world is too intense right now. I need help finding safety." This is not disobedience, it is neurological honesty. Your compassionate response teaches them that their needs are valid, that they can trust you to support them when the world is too much. Marcus practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining difficulties in advance so as not to be caught off guard. Adapt this. Before leaving home, visualize potential challenges, noisy environments, plan changes, curious stares. But instead of gearing up to fight these situations, prepare to navigate them with grace. Have strategies ready, noise-reducing headphones, sensory regulation activities, simple explanations for well-meaning onlookers. Buddhist tradition teaches radical acceptance, fully accepting the present moment without adding mental suffering. When your child struggles to communicate, instead of thinking, "They should be able to tell me what they want," practice, "They are communicating in the way they can. My task is to become more fluent in their language." This shift transforms frustration into curiosity, problem into an interesting puzzle. Jung spoke of opus contra naturam, work against common habit that leads to extraordinary transformation. When you choose to celebrate your child's obsessive interests instead of redirecting them toward more normal things, you are practicing Amor Fati. That fascination with trains can lead to engineering. That encyclopedic memory of dinosaurs can lead to paleontology. That pattern repetition can lead to advanced mathematics. The most challenging Amor Fati practice is facing social judgment. When someone looks at your child strangely, instead of shrinking defensively, practice radical pride. Think, "This person is meeting neurodiversity for the first time through my child. What a wonderful educational moment." Your child does not need to hide to preserve others' comfort. Others need to expand their definitions of normal. Marcus wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given, but love the people with whom you share it." Love your child not despite autism, but including autism. Their sensory quirks, intense interests, unique way of processing the world. This is them. When you love fully, without wanting to modify anything, you are practicing the purest form of Amor Fati. Develop family rituals that honor your child's way of being. If they need specific routines, turn them into sacred traditions. If they have dietary sensitivities, make their meals a celebration of needs respected. If they need alone time to regulate, create a peace space that communicates their needs matter. The nightly Amor Fati practice is specific gratitude. Before sleep, find 3 moments in the day when you saw your child's unique beauty. Perhaps it was how they arranged toys into perfect patterns. Perhaps the intensity with which they listened to a song. Perhaps the fierce honesty with which they expressed an emotion. These moments are treasures only parents of autistic children get to find. Jung reminds us that the greatest and most important problems of life are fundamentally unsolvable. They can never be solved, only outgrown. Autism is not to be solved. It is to be outgrown through mutual growth, deep acceptance, and love that expands to include realities we did not initially understand. To live Amor Fati fully is to see your autistic child not as a project to be improved, but as a master to be understood, not as a problem to be solved, but as a mystery to be celebrated, not as a detour from the plan, but as the plan itself, revealing a beauty and complexity you could never have imagined. Marcus would conclude, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your child is as they are. Your response, that is your domain of total power. And when you choose Amor Fati, to love your fate exactly as it presents itself, you discover an inner strength capable of transforming any circumstance into an opportunity to grow in wisdom, compassion, and authenticity. Your child's autism is not an accident. It is an invitation to become the most evolved version of yourself. And when you accept it fully, you discover that love truly can embrace any fate. The inner emperor you've become. We've reached the end of this Stoic journey, but in truth, you're only beginning. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for others. He wrote them as reminders to himself, daily practices to stay centered amid the chaos of ruling an empire. Today, you discovered that leading a family with autism requires the same imperial wisdom he cultivated 2 millennia ago. When you started this video, you may have carried the weighty sense that something was wrong with your family's fate. Now you grasp the revolutionary Stoic truth. There is no wrong fate, only our resistance to the fate that is ours. Your child's autism is not an obstacle to the plan. It is the plan, and you are not its victim. You are its co-creator. Marcus would say, "You have become precisely the kind of person he respected, one forged by adversity into wisdom, who transformed challenging circumstances into opportunities for growth, who discovered that true love has no conditions. You have developed a kind of inner strength people in typical circumstances may never need to discover." Jung reminds us that what we do not confront in ourselves, we will meet as fate. You confronted fears about imperfection, control, and what it means to be a successful family. And by confronting those fears through real experience with your autistic child, you turned them into wisdom. You didn't merely survive what you thought would be unbearable, you flourished through it. Buddhist teaching tells us that conscious suffering transforms into compassion. Your specific journey as the parent of an autistic child was not only for your personal growth, it was preparation to become a source of wisdom and support for other families walking the same road. You are now a keeper of knowledge that can only be earned by living what you've lived. Remember, each day you choose Amor Fati over resistance, you are practicing Stoic philosophy at its highest level. Each moment you see beauty where others see only difference, you are demonstrating wisdom Marcus Aurelius would recognize instantly. Each time you protect your child's dignity from social misunderstanding, you are showing the courage of a true emperor. Your autistic child is your greatest teacher in disguise. They've forced you to question narrow definitions of success, to develop patience you didn't know you had, to find joy in simple moments others might dismiss. They've taught you that authenticity is more valuable than approval, presence more important than performance, and unconditional love is possible even in the most challenging circumstances. You are no longer who you were before the diagnosis. You are stronger, wiser, more compassionate, someone who knows mysteries about human resilience others can only imagine, someone who has proven that human spirits can not only survive, but thrive on any terrain. Marcus ended his meditations by reminding himself that life is far too brief to waste on resentment. You chose not to waste yours resisting your child's autism. Instead, you turned that experience into wisdom, strength, and deeper love. That is Amor Fati in its purest form. The philosopher-emperor would embrace autism because he understood that our greatest challenges are our greatest teachers. And you have already embraced it. You have become the inner emperor of your own life, ruling your unique, extraordinary family realm with Stoic wisdom. Your child does not have to be typical for your family to thrive. You don't need external approval to know you are doing extraordinary work. You are exactly as you should be, walking exactly the path meant for you, growing in ways only this precise journey could provide. Marcus Aurelius would be proud of the warrior philosopher you've become. If If this video touched your heart and transformed your perspective, I have a few important requests. 1. Leave a comment sharing the insight that most impacted you. Your story may be exactly what another parent needs to read today. 2. Share this video with someone who needs a Stoic perspective, another parent facing a recent diagnosis, a relative who doesn't yet understand, or a friend dealing with their own family challenges. 3. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more transformative Stoic content applied to real life. We're building a community of warrior parents who choose to grow through challenges. 4. Practice one thing you learned today. Choose a hard moment with your child, and instead of resisting, practice Amor Fati. See what happens when you dance with reality rather than fight it. Finally, remember that you are not alone on this path. We are a community of extraordinary families, creating flourishing lives outside conventional molds. Marcus Aurelius would be honored to see this philosophy lived in the real world. Until the next video, keep practicing Stoic wisdom. Keep being the inner emperor of your unique, precious family life.